Good afternoon, Sanbonani, Molweni, Apsheni, and isikhathi-ke sakhona ukuthi siqhubeke nohlelo lethu namhlanje kula Future Leaders Boys Conference ngoba kuyinyanga yobaba sigoqa inyanga yobaba. We're getting into another level. Tina, as we wrap up the Men's Month, we are beginning conversations with young people about a number of things that are motivating abantu abasha, things that are channeling abantu abasha to live a meaningful and a purposeful life. And we cannot do this alone. So joining us this afternoon or this evening is none other than the Bishop, MPENDULO NKAMBULE, esimazi ukuthi yingqayingqayi. Umalume wami-ke lona ngiyaziqhenya ngaye. The Bishop is not only a man of cloth, he's a leader. He's a life coach, and he's also somebody who's very passionate about abantu abasha, talking about the youth. Bishop Kwamgela, good afternoon.
Siyabonga kakhulu Malume. Thank you so much. I am excited to be here this evening, and we look forward to a great time of changing lives.
Siyabonga, Bishop, you're coming all the way live from Swaziland. You've got a very interesting topic that we would like you to share with us. And the topic is about managing our emotions. Very, very complicated topic, but as a man who has cut teeth in life and who has been preaching and changing people's lives, when we talk about emotions, I don't want to be technical as such, but what are emotions more or less in your understanding?
In a very simple way, emotions are feelings. It's actually, when you talk of managing your emotions, we are talking of managing your feelings. And you have to be, which means you must be real with your feelings. You must get to master and know your feelings. And for you to do that, it is very important that you are properly taught how to manage your feelings, because it is a process. If you fail to manage your feelings, we will see the outbursts, we will see the consequences or the results of failing to manage your feelings. There could be some outbursts, someone exploding suddenly, and you ask yourself, what happened? There must be a level of managing your emotions and be in touch with your emotions and know your emotions, because your emotions determine who you become.
Sure. Talking about feelings, is that the reason why then people who fail to manage their emotions end up in some form of some behavioral responses, which leads to a degree of either pleasure or displeasure?
Exactly. If you fail to manage your emotions, you have to master that. You have to master your emotions. You know, there's something that was once that is said in the Bible. If someone can deliver a city, if someone can fight and deliver a city, but does not have victory over their own passions, over their own desires, they will soon be destroyed by their passions and their desires because they have not conquered them. In other words, conquering your emotions is conquering your passions, conquering your desires, and being in total control.
Wow. Total control, Malume, and conquering, it requires somebody to be able to manage that. Now, when we say management, when we talk about management, we talk about the principles of management, which has an element of planning, being organized, organizing yourself, taking the leadership role, and also having control over your life. Would you say the same principle will almost apply in managing one's emotions?
We are talking about boys, say from the age of 10 up to the age of 21 and beyond.
Yes.
You know, from the age of 5, I believe, research will agree with me, from the age of 5, a child is already must be able to be taught how to manage their emotions. From around the age of 5 going up to 10, it's if we fail to teach, if we fail to prepare them, we fail to give them the right direction and the right guidance and allow them to express their emotions and allow them to talk about how they feel, to talk about their emotions. You know, when we grow up, they say that boys don't cry, which is a myth, which is not true. Any human being cries, because crying is an expression of an emotion. You cry when you are sad, you cry when you are happy, some people cry when you become very happy, you cry when you are joyful, you cry when you are sad. It's an expression of an emotion. It is therapeutic, it brings healing, it makes one be in touch with themselves. So that is why it is very important, as we are talking to boys, it is very important that parents have a responsibility to allow their boys to become who they are. When a boy is at a tender age, he must be allowed to develop. He must be allowed to express emotion, to express how they feel, to talk about how they feel. They must be given that platform, because if we don't give them that platform to express how they feel, to say how they feel, even space to be alone. You know, some of your emotions are expressed when you are alone. Be allowed to be alone. Be given space to be alone. Be given space to be angry. Be given space. Then you are told how to control your anger, how to control your words, how you feel. You are taught how to do that. So, in other words, simply put, there is nothing that just happens. We have to teach. We have to prepare young boys. We have to allow them to deal with their emotions. Because sometimes what happens in the family, Malume, actually affects the boys in the family. And certain behaviors of boys are as a result of what is happening in the family between mother and father, or mother who is a single parent, or father who is a single parent raising up a son. There are those challenges that we need to deal with and prepare our sons and raise them up so that tomorrow they become men.
So that means the very same process we are embarking on, talking to young boys, is part of that planning and assisting them to be organized. So what would we say to families? Some of families that are very reckless in their utterances, Malume, by saying, Abantu abasha, they are lost. You know, is there anything like a lost generation?
The lost generation.
Yeah.
You know, when young people are lost, the parents are lost. They can't just get lost without the parents being lost.
Yes.
The one that loses, the one that makes everyone go astray, is the one that is supposed to know how to read the compass. If the parent cannot read the compass and is the captain of the ship, and then the ship will be lost. Whatever you see happening with the young people is the direct responsibility of the parent. If we say they are a lost generation, and then we are lost parents.
Oh my goodness. Why beg, Baba, as a man of the cloth and a bishop, spiritually, emotions. How should one manage the emotions, bringing into the space ukolo?
We have this understanding that God created this universe. We believe that. We have read it through the word of God, and we have come to believe that God is the one that created this universe. And we believe that God is in us. So human beings were put by God and placed on this universe. And so for a man, for a young man, for a boy to actually be in touch with his emotions, in touch with himself, discover himself and find who they are, they need to know the Creator. They need to know God. Their relationship with God determines a good relationship with self. And thus a good relationship with others outside you. Wow. Now, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So the first step that we encourage young people is to know God. When you find God, you find yourself. When you find your faith in God, you find yourself. The wrestling, the struggle of discovering who you are and knowing who you are outside God becomes very complex. Because a human being, you must understand that a human being always wants to speak to a higher power. And in this case, the higher power that we appeal to is God himself.
Oh, now, Bishop, talking of the higher power, I would take the bishop, the mfundisi, the pastor, have the higher power, and they play a role of being a parent. But what happens in an instance where the bishop or the pastor is afraid to confront young people and talk to them about the situations or the condition that they see themselves in? It's a
very sad situation.
Yeah.
If the pastor, the spiritual leader, if I may put it, is uncomfortable or is afraid or is actually not prepared to deal with the issues that young people face, every generation, Maluma, every generation has got its own demons, its own challenges, its its own situations that it's facing. Every generation will fight certain giants. Now, you must understand this. The pastor must know that he is dealing with another generation, not his generation.
Oh, yeah.
So therefore, he must be a wise man. He must, the Bible says, the sons of Issachar were wise. They had understanding of the times, that they would be able to lead Israel all the time and in all the times. So in other words, the pastor or the spiritual leader does not live for himself, but he lives to serve the people. He must always study, he must read, he must be aware of current affairs, he must be aware of technology, he must be aware of what is happening around him and everything that is happening around him, so that he'll be able to deal with this generation that is not his generation. Because from generation to generation, there are different challenges that we face. Young people are faced with challenges. Unfortunately, a lot of young people feel that the church is irrelevant to their needs. They feel that the church does not understand them. The church is preaching a message that is irrelevant to them. The church is singing a music that does not accommodate them. The church does not make an effort to actually understand them. Unfortunately, we have a tendency of demonizing everything we do not understand. You understand that?
Yeah,
we have a tendency of demonizing everything we don't understand. We say it's the devil, it's demon. Some things are not demonic, some things are not the devil. We have to understand the times and move with the times. We change our strategy in dealing with young people. We change our approach in dealing with young people. We do not change our message. Though from time to time, the strategy, the presentation may change, but the message does not change, because the message is timeless. But we must be relevant. As I'm speaking to young boys, we want to be relevant to your needs. We want you to speak to us. We want you to open up. We want to create a platform for you so that you can engage with us and talk to us, and so that we are there for you. You express your emotions, we listen to you, you speak to us about how you feel, how you want things to be done. What does church mean to you? What does your faith mean to you? How best can you understand what we are presenting to you during this time as we present Christ to you? So the church has a responsibility to stay relevant, because the message is timeless, but the approach changes from generation to generation.
Absolutely. Ngivumelana nawe kakhulu lapho. Kodwa ke, I like the relevance part. Ngoba the challenge we have, we sometimes assume good when we talk about drugs and alcohol and substance abuse, into yodwa ayishintshe. And yet it has gone very, very, very bad. We now have Otiki, we have Onyawupe, and that's it.
Yes.
So when abantu abasha are caught up in such a situation, and the mfundisi or the pastor or the spiritual leader cannot pick that up, what would be your advice as to how do we go about identifying this? Do we sit nabo, or we follow them emakaya, or we catch them emakoneni and engage them?
We talk to them, like I said, from 5 years old. We talk to them so that we prevent them from going through that situation. For those that have not been through that situation, that is why we're here, so that we can talk to them, so that we can address their feelings and their needs. That is why we're talking about feelings right now, emotions, so that we address their emotional needs, so that they do not need to actually find drugs as a solution, or drugs as other means of self-gratification, of feeling important, of feeling wanted and loved, so that they find their relevance and importance in what we are teaching, excuse me, which is the word of God. So that's what we do. We deal with the problem, we anticipate the problem. We don't wait until the problem comes to solve the problem. We anticipate that since our children, since young men are living in this kind of world, they are with us in this situation. These are the issues they are dealing with. Drugs are a reality. Substance abuse of any kind, whether it's alcohol, whether it's whatever substance abuse, drugs are a reality. It is a challenge that we are facing, that we have to deal with. Let's talk to the young people. Let us also engage professionals in our church settings. Professionals can actually see certain behaviors from young people. I may not be qualified as a professional to do that, but I am qualified spiritually to see things. But professionals can see, they can identify a child in the class where they are teaching in church that this child is developing certain behaviors. They can identify that. So let us address those issues before they become explosive. Let us try not to actually come to children, to young boys, accusing them of something, but let us actually have a good relationship. If the child cannot speak to his parents, let the child have access to speak to his to the pastor or the pastoral staff or someone in the church who is qualified to actually talk to them.
Yeah. Now, Malume, here is a child, cannot find someone to talk to at home. The pastor is not talking to the child at home. The child develops anger, and this anger starts now multiplying itself and expressing this anger through abuse and physical handling of a girl child. The chances of this boy also being physical and abusing umama ekhaya, what do we do with that one?
Most of the time we are products of our environments. The environment where you grow up, generally you actually then behave in that manner because that is what we have seen. If your father does not get his way, he becomes violent, he becomes pushy, he becomes aggressive, he becomes abusive maybe to your mother, and then you start to think, or vice versa, your mother is aggressive to your father. If the young boy has seen the father beat the mother, what normally develops, the young boy begins to think that this is how you make women to submit to you. If you want to have your way, he thinks that he needs to be abusive and aggressive. What do we do in that circumstance, like you have asked?
Yeah.
I'm going back to my point. We have to have proper structures in church that will be able, or in society in general, that will be able to correct some of the errors that the parents are committing raising children, so that the child will have a choice and an option to understand that violence is not the way to go. Abuse is not the way to go. Even if the parent is doing it in the home. But when the son grows up and he comes to me in church and he finds that I teach the young boy the right way, he will soon make me a role model because he sees what he wants to become in me, not in his father. Because if the father, the natural father, is aggressive, is violent, is abusive, he becomes a negative role model. The son needs a positive role model.
Yo, very powerful, Malume. Speaking of role models and anger and all these things, now there's another topic that abafundisi avoid talking about, even parents themselves. A child who's unhappy, a child who gets angry, the next thing is locked himself in the bedroom. Then in the absence of any constructive engagement, they end up accessing their phones and looking into pornography.
Right.
And this pornography is the one that will drive them to start wanting to experiment. Okay. And how do we deal with this one?
Pornography is unhealthy. Unfortunately, the challenge we have, our children, our sons have got access to all these gadgets. They have access to the internet. They can look at it as they please. I think we have to talk about it. Like I said, we must anticipate problems.
Yeah.
We solve them before they become problems. Let us talk to them about pornography. I think a good open relationship with your son, where they can speak to you, where you can talk to them, lento yamapubesi, lento yamatime amapubesi, I tell. Lento kutu baba usafikile ipubesi, that the man becomes a lion, where every time he enters home, everyone leaves the room, they go to their bedrooms because the lion just entered. That is very, very destructive. Your son must have a relationship with you. In the church, we have men that can have relationship with all these young boys, so that all of them have good, positive role models, so that we are able to deal. The only way I believe that we can deal with pornography issues is to deal with them before they are a problem. But in the events a child is dealing with those issues, in our structures, like we have this program for boys to men, this is the structure where we talk to boys, where we will meet them in camps, and we sit down around the table sometimes or around the fire. We talk about issues. We talk about issues that your parents can't talk about. We talk about issues that your mom can't talk about. We talk about issues that your dad can't talk about. We talk about issues like pornography. We talk about substance abuse, drugs, and all those issues. We deal with them. This particular program is for helping young boys deal with those kind of issues. We talk about them, we address them. If the boy is now deep into pornography, or the young man now deep into pornography, we have programs that will deal with those issues, bring them to counseling, professional help, so that they deal with the issues, because you can't deal with an issue until you identify that it is a problem issue. Now, once it becomes a problem, then we deal with it.
Absolutely, Malume. Now, if the relationship then breaks, Ekaya, between a dad and a son and a boy, or it breaks a Sondweni, then this boy will like to have a circle of friends and will look out for belonging. There we go. Ends up in a gangster.
Right.
And what are the pros and cons of that?
Gangsterism. Now, when we grew up as young boys, we had our little things like you know those boys groups where one of you is a leader, little gangs here and there, and those things were broken by teachers at school. Those things were broken by parents at home. I think it is important that to solve the gang issues, it is important that a child has a stable foundation or home where the parents are willing to engage the son, so that the son does not become lonely. Talk to your son, so that also the influence that we can also add. We cannot choose friends for our children, but we can associate our children with children of our associates. Once they associate whom we know what they believe and what they stand for and what they teach, so that they are in the right environment. It's just one of the ways of helping our sons, our children, our boys. So I think that importantly, we deal with the issue of gangs, like you have said. It is important that the boy does not find himself lonely, that your son as a father does not find you lonely, that the young man is not lonely, that he is always around company. You know, communication is important. The lines must be open between father and son. I can't overemphasize that. The lines must be open between father and son. Also monitor who are your friends, who are your son's friends. Also monitor who are your son's friends, so that you bring your son's friends over. When they come over to your home, you observe how they behave, you observe what they do, you observe the things that they do, so that you are part of them and you know what's happening, so that even your son will visit them. Then you are able to manage what is happening. The parent must be fully involved, whether it's the mother or it's the father, whether you're a single parent, you must be fully involved in the development of your son.
But akhona amagenge Maluma ngithi lamagenge lana a peaceful nyana bathi bacool nyana umsebenzi wabo ukuthi mabeblomile njengama-gents baze bebabheka bascout ukuthi ish abongwana badlulayo banjani. And that's where they start to ukuhlakanipha manje, but ufuna ukubona ukuthi ubani onesibindi makudlula intombi yaphuma yoshela. Now then,
a good circle of friends.
A good circle of friends. Now is that is the type of circle of friends that we're encouraging, Malume. Kuyinyanga yo baba sivala, with much work that you're doing, Go Baba Tina from the Future Leaders targeting abantu abasha, appreciating igalelo lakho and your contribution in this regard. As we wrap up the Men's Month, our appeal from Future Leaders dealing with boys is that this should be the beginning of many things to come in terms of motivating abantu abasha. Your message to the boy child about gender-based violence.
Crime, violence does not pay. When you are involved in crime, when you involve yourself in any manner of violence, you are throwing your life down the drain. There are options, there are opportunities in life. There is your whole life. Your whole life is a young man ahead of you. Your whole life is ahead of you. The best is yet to come. So, simply put, I will say, have the right circle of friends. Choose your friends well. Friends with good values. Friends who fear God. Friends that have good values, that will not lead you astray. It's very, very important. But I also want to speak to the parent of the boy child, that it is very important that programs like this one, Boys to Men for Future Leaders, we present you an opportunity where you can bring your sons, we'll talk to them, we'll engage with them, we'll create a platform for them so that they deal with the issues, the challenges that we are facing. Nothing cannot be overcome. Open up to actually contact us and talk to us. We love the boy child. We believe in the boy child. We know that he is a leader. And because he's a leader, we must prepare them whilst they are young. And nothing shall be impossible.
Wow. Bishop, Aita, in Kulenda. And I really honestly say to the boy child watching, sitting with Ubaba, sitting with Umalume, sitting with Usisi and Buti, this is the beginning of many things to come, as we say. Bishop, we're looking at building Amanyama programs, which will carry on the way we've been doing all along, with COVID-19, of course, being locked down behind doors. We will be bringing these online, and we will really thank you so much profusely for being part of this and for being an inspiration always. As a man of God and a leader and a coach, we really appreciate and thank you so much.
That's right. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless our country, and God bless Africa.
Thank you, Bishop Agbo Musa. Thank you so much. There we have it. Young people watching from all over. We get ready. If you would like to take a break, quickly get a cup of coffee or so, and be back. We continue with our program, the Future Leaders Boys Conference 2020. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, Sanbonani, Molweni, Apsheni, Ganvusela, Sisai Petalento Boys Conference, Future Leaders 2020, talking to all the boys in South Africa, in SADC, in Africa, and everywhere else where we have Abantabasha. The theme of our conference has something to do with us taking part in the gender-based violence, and at the same time empowering Abantabasha, giving them ideas on what to do with their lives and how to grow. We have various speakers, and the speaker that's coming up now is a very fine gentleman, a husband, an entrepreneur, businessman, a brother, man of God, a servant of the Most High, Ubabe KENNA Mahlangu. He's a co-founder of Yaka Denim Wear. He's got his Yaka Denim Wear hat. And because I'm a Swati boy, I'm also going to wear my Swati cap all the way from the kingdom of Eswatini. As Bonegeba Gutubange, Owazi, Gutubanu Petini. Minang Pete, Esaseswazin, when Pete, Esaseyaka Deningwe. Baba, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Bantabasha, especially the boy child. You are a husband, you run a business, and I've seen you many times. You're such an incredible man. Tell us, who is KENNA Mahlangu?
I hope you'll bring me in if I go too far, because that's a huge resume.
Yeah.
Okay. KENNA Mahlangu, I was born in Ekurhuleni, born at Tsakane, raised in the streets of Tsakane, dusty streets, and grew up, went to AFDA. That's where I obtained my degree. And actually, by profession, I'm a qualified director. So I majored in directing. And from there, funny enough, I didn't go into the entertainment business or into the mainstream, in terms of directing television or theater. I went into marketing and advertising. I found myself excited. I grew up in the marketing industry, and I then qualified and became an activation specialist. And I did that for about 15 years. And then after that, I was like, okay, I've done this. I know the ins and outs of marketing. I understand how to communicate to an audience, how to feel, touch the product and the brand. And I then opened my own small boutique agency called KAN Communication. And then I've been running that for 5 years now. And what also inspired me was that, you know, you pitch, you do presentations, you do all these things. And until I felt like, you know what, in advertising, what's great is you grow brands, but you're not growing your brand. You're growing other people's brands, you know. If you hit your target, your sales, they clap, 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 but there's nothing for you to show after, you know, 10, 15 years of it being in the industry. So I then started having a yearning to own something of my own, especially once you start hitting 40, you start feeling, okay, I've got to start working towards my legacy. You know,
Okay,
what can I leave behind?
speaking of legacy and 40, I can see that the lockdown has given you a style, and you're trying to catch up with me. Unfortunately, I am the only Mkulu Bay Wasemzanti. Now, Baba, you're talking about brands. Very
Yes.
interesting. Yaka Denim Wear. It's a
Yeah.
brand, and the brand that is coming up so strong. How do you
Yes.
then survive this make this brand stay afloat amidst many other big brands? What is Yaka Denim Wear?
Yaka Tenimwe. Okay, firstly, let's just explain. Yaka
Yes.
in Tswana means it's mine.
Wow.
Yes. So what I wanted to create with my business partner, Bongani Mwale, we wanted to create a brand that when people wear it, they have a sense of ownership. You know, you own your look, you own your style, you know. We want people to be confident when they wear our brand. That's the kind of feeling we wanted to create, you know, and that's why we came up with the word Yaka in Setswana means it's mine. And also our payoff line says, own it.
Okay.
But when we talk about ownership, which we will unpack in this conversation, when we talk about ownership, not only own our brand as in our jeans, but we're talking of a huge concept here about African ownership of our products. You know, not only participate in the economy, but also own product within the economy.
Wow. Sure. So what?
Then we develop this amazing denim brand. And what keeps us afloat above the rest is we then studied in the denim industry and said, okay, what is it that the big boys can do that we can't do? What is it that we can do that they can't do? Because you need to know your strengths. And we had to now come up with unique selling points of Yaka. What would make Yaka stand out from the rest? We then noticed, okay, Yaka is all about customization, because Yaka, not only do we just make denims, but we customize your jeans. So Jongo Babu Sibeko, you can have your own style, your own look that you will own because you came to the store and you had the freedom to say, put that accessory there. Is zip yamming frani bege lighting on frani chegise. You have that freedom with us. The big boys can't do that. They've got a huge chain. The red tape is crazy, you know. So they can't do that. We can do it. You know, we can customize each and every look for our customers.
Sure. Baba, you're talking about the big brand and the big boys. And I see the fire and the passion in you. You know, running a business and a big brand like this and having the ability to even go an extra mile and make people want to own their brand.
Yeah.
You are an amazing man. I've watched you on our couples retreats and tours.
Yes.
How you are so close and you're like a sister and a brother to your wife. Now there's business, there's the family. You know, they say you cannot mix business with pleasure, but I seem to pick up this very strong element of support even from Ekaya. Now, what would you say your role as Ubaba, the head of the household, and the role Gamama? How do you guys complement each other?
How I put it is an easier explanation for me is look at a corporate structure, right? So I'm the CEO, she's the COO.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
She runs operations, you
Okay.
know. So I'm the executive, I cast the vision.
Okay.
Okay. This is where we're going. This is how we're gonna do it. And then she goes, okay, for us to go there, this is what we're gonna need. Boom, boom. So we don't really clash, but we complement each other because we give each other space to grow.
Wow. You don't
You know,
really clash. You complement each other. Wow. I like that.
yes.
Hmm.
And also, you respect your partner's opinion.
Hmm.
You've got to respect them and you trust them. They critique. If they come, they give you criticism. It's not because they want to bring you down. It's because they want you to look better. They want you to look finer. They want you to be feisty. They want you to be bold.
Okay.
That's what they are there for, you know?
Wow.
So whenever she gives criticism, I don't take it back. I don't like, why is she saying this? Or maybe she doesn't like this new design. No, it's because she has looked, she has studied, she's seen that this design that we're going to come out with, these are the challenges that we're going to face. So it's kind of like a joyful ride, you know,
Wow.
and it helps a lot because you find yourself quite balanced because in this industry, it can be quite lonely.
Wow, in this industry it can be quite lonely, but I like the balance part. You know, you're playing the balancing act. With omunye
Yeah.
supporter omunye, omunye supporter omunye.
Yes.
Yay. Now, what is your advice to a young person, whether they
Yes.
have a spouse or a girlfriend or fiance or a wife, if they are aspiring entrepreneurs, they still have to take care of their own personal um, family matters or love issues. Okay, what would be your advice in terms of how do people should maneuver in those areas?
Yeah. Well, my number one advice is that never ever forget the most important thing that put you together or that brought you together is love. Because what happens is that when we are now in a relationship, we start forgetting with kahle kahle what actually brought, what's the real chemistry that brought us together. So never ever forget that. And number two, always give love an opportunity to grow
Wow,
and exist within yourselves.
wow, wow. Yeah,
You know, so by that I mean there's times where it's like no business, no what. Now it's all about romance. It's all about we give it time.
wow.
We give it an opportunity to grow. There's time where we like, okay, it's not romance now, it's business. Bring my laptop. Da 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 da. How are we doing? What's happening over there? You know. So each and everything, make sure that you find a balance. It's very hard.
Okay.
And let me say this here. I'm not saying it because I'm on an interview, but it's easier said than done. It's very hard, but keep on practicing to find that balance. You know, you try this one. It seems as if you spending too much time on work. Okay, find balance, bring family back. Oh, it's too much family. You're lacking here. Da, 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 until you sort of like settle and you feel like, okay, now I
Yeah,
think I've got it.
I like that. But with my 15 years experience, Mshatweni, in marriage and with
Yes.
my wife, and one thing I've learned is that exactly what you're talking about, the balancing act. The
Mhm.
relationship and business is like sitting on a seesaw.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
one
Okay.
is
Go.
down, one is up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
fight, because if you fight, the one sitting down is an advantage, because if this person steps down, you are going to fall like a ton
Whoop.
of bricks.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you gently go up and down, and eventually you say, now we better stop now, you bring it to a balance, then you are both safe. You can get off safe and sound. Now, it is obvious, Baba Guti, your success formula is also something that radiates and is coming from home in terms of getting the business running. You go to work with an open heart. You come home, you're
Yeah.
welcomed with an open heart and open mind.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
what is your take on us as Obaba and establishment businessmen? how do we deal with the issue of gender-based violence?
You see, that's one. Whoa, I can put on a sermon right now.
Yeah, amen.
I can put on a sermon right now. For me, it starts with respect. And you know, I like. I'm one person who listens to words. You said as Singabo Baba one, two as businessmen.
Yeah.
Now, Singabo Baba, we are businessmen. We acquire currency, then we become powerful.
Yeah.
Now, we must not dilute or misuse our power. Now, it calls for Lobaba abene integrity guye kala, not to take advantage of anyone. You know, and for me, it starts by people around you. You know, that is why for me personally, family is very important. Because if the enemy has destroyed the family, he has destroyed the community. If he has destroyed the community, he has destroyed a region, a province, a country, a society.
Yeah.
So we need to cherish that. Family is very, very important. You know, I was raised by a single parent. I was raised by my mother. And going through that experience, I vowed myself. I said, I will never take my kids through that experience. Because it's one of the most painful experiences when you don't have both your parents raising you at the same time. And I took it upon myself and I said, I am going to, the Bible says I'm the head. I need to lead. And I've got two girls. So the two girls need to see how I communicate to their mother. You know, they need to see me expressing love. Sometimes they'll walk in and we cuddle and they're like, oh, why are you doing that? We're like, because she's my wife.
Yeah.
They're like, but if he's a wife, I'm talking of a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old here, you know, and but that's how we start diffusing GBV, you know, and it's not talk, it's not pep talk, it's not us coming into cameras, going to interviews and yep. No, we need to live it.
Yeah.
We need to practice it. And for me, we need to practice this in the most powerful sacred space, which is what we call a home.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The doors are closed. There's walls. There's a fence, there's a gate. No one can see.
Wow.
That's where, for me, we need to conquer and win. Wow. So we must not think I must go give a big speech at church or give a big speech at the community hall and then I feel good. No. When I prepare, how do I speak to my partner? Wow. What respect do I have for her?
Sure. Yeah, Baba. Hey, home. Kutuatina, oh Baba, we build houses. And oh mama, convert the houses into a home. But how heartwarming it is to find both umama and baba making it a home and making it sound and leave it with ikaya. You said something very, very profound, Baba. Kuqala ngomndeni bese kuba umphakathi bese kuba isizwe. You know, there's a Chinese wise man, but Confucius. But everything starts with people. Happy people, happy couple, happy family. Happy family, happy community. Happy community, happy nation. So, Geskosa, uikanile. You speak of integrity. You speak of integrity, which is one thing that we need, Kakulu. But naindaba yemali that you brought up. Once a man works and he has money, namangabe begana that respect, but if he's not responsible enough to make sure that these resources are utilized properly and uses imali to control umuntu wesifazane, kubalkhuni. How do we maneuver that? You know, our fathers used to bring my pay slips emakhaya. Thina imali ingena banking. Ngizani, ngumtshengisa ifone SMS, imali ingenile baby.
Look, for me, my advice is that transparency. You know, for me, is transparency. Be an open book.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not, I want to tell you, you're gonna work very hard to hide. If you've got secrets, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You need to hide this. Oh, you need to remember as you're coming out of the gate, oh, I left my jean and it's got this and that on my paisley. Oh, I need to drive back. Woo, I need to run. And it's too much.
Oh, and that already starts creating the division ekhaya, umama being suspicious ukuthi indaba uKasuthu bari umaphathe phathe. Baba ngiyabonga. You're saying give love an opportunity, you know. Above all, utando is central to what we're talking about. Now, speaking of which, utando and your love for business and your passion, I can tell Guti, what has actually driven you to master the art of this brand that you're working on is your wealth of experience in marketing and brand activation. So as a businessman, you know, sometimes I feel like when we call people entrepreneurs, it's like calling your business Ispaza. And I run businesses and I say hey, Ispaza Sam. And my wife would say, never ever call your business Ispaza. That's a business. So you are a very astute businessman who's really but you've cut your teeth in what you're doing. And I like the balance in you understanding and running your business and you understanding running your own home business, the Mahlangu business affairs. Yeah. Now, where do we find you? Where do we find the Yaka jeans? Is it just obtainable at a particular store, or it will soon be available in other chain stores?
We are having conversations with a particular store that you might be able to find our denims. But at this point in time, I'm quite excited to all your viewers and listeners that we are actually forced by COVID-19. We are quite behind. We're opening our online store. It might be a week or two. We'll be opening our online store. So we're quite excited about that. And we've got quite quarantine sale that's coming out. It's a huge, exciting wave. Feel and but
even those that are aspiring to become business people, they can see here you are, a businessman, a loving husband that truly lives up to the values of being a responsible man. As we wrap up the Men's Month, this is the beginning of many conversations to come, and I'm certain, Guti, you will be willing to respond positively when we at Future Leaders as a call upon you to share the best practices in terms of what is it that we can do to best support abantu abasha. Siyabonga baba ube no busuku obumnandi obuhle, and greetings to the family. Keep well. Great chatting to you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Hey, tadas.
Voila.
Hello, future leaders out there, Sanborn. I hope you are okay. I just wanted to share some testimony of what I learned while I was a member of the Future Leaders organization. I joined the Future Leaders back in 2005, I think, while I was still in high school. There are many things that one learned while he was still part of Future Leaders. I mean, things that really shaped one's way of thinking and eventually one's future. But what is more important is that one met a lot of young people from all walks of life, from different backgrounds with different skills and talent. That alone was a perfect platform for one to learn different things, but more one learned to care about one's future, but not about oneself, but about others as a future leader. How are others doing? How to assist others? That alone was shaped by being part of this wonderful organization. One would then matriculate, then study at higher institution of learning, participating in student politics, which was earlier shaped by being part of this Future Leaders organization. Thereafter, one would, after graduation, form part of a political organization in community.
Hello there, it's your bishop. I've got a message for young men and boys in Malaya that the word sorry doesn't take anything out of you, even a single inch out of you. When you've realized that you've hurt someone, just go out there and say the word sorry to them, and you actually say it with a meaning, and see if things won't turn around for them and for you. Stay blessed.
A very good afternoon to Abandabasha, tuned in from all over Mzansi, maybe Africa, maybe other places. Today we're having a very, very, very important conversation about youth, especially the boy child that has been ignored over the years. We've seen a lot happening. Girl child, take a girl child to work, but there isn't much happening about boys. From the Future Leaders, this is the 5th boys conference that we're running. And what we've done, we invited people like you, Baba, to come and assist us, talk to the boy child. Our main is to mold young people to be responsible future leaders. You have a very interesting topic that we expect you to share with us about being cool, but I wouldn't like to take too much of your time. Welcome to the Future Leaders 2020 Boys Conference. Please introduce yourself, because I like it when you do it yourself. Over to you, Baba.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu, Baba. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuning in. Hello, good afternoon. Igama SIBUSISO, Joshua MOLIMI. Before I start, I would like to thank Future Leaders for this opportunity, for this platform. We need to have these conversations. It's just unfortunate because of COVID-19 that we are not able to gather and have a dialogue. But I do hope and I do pray that what we're going to share in this conversation will spark a conversation. But more than anything else, it will touch young people's hearts, because that's where everything flows from the heart. So big thank you, Ngiyabonga kakhulu, to Future Leaders for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted at all, because we learn through experiences. Those who have gone ahead, those are the ones that we should be asking for lessons and for guidance and for wisdom from. So yeah, a big thank you. As I said, Igama SIBUSISO, Joshua MOLIMI, ngizalelwe eSoweto, Orlando West, and then I moved from there. I came and I stayed with my dad for some time, Konalite Dobsinvili, Extension 2. And then I saw Extension 2, ngabuela back Orlando West, Ekilani. And yeah, bengumjito thanda idiski, umjito thanda iskela kakhulu. And a big thank you to Ukokwa, my late grand, who said, you know what, before you go out and play nabangani, iskela qala. So there were times when Amachito would come and fetch me, because many shows like but I couldn't be able to go with them because I had to do my work and do my homework. So yeah, from then on, when I was 10, I went to boarding school. Boarding school, Amachita phela cabang. uvuka ekuseni amajita, afternoon amajita, evening amajita. So you can imagine because I was in boarding school, but it molded me to being the man that I am now. So I was in boarding school from grade 4 up until grade 7, and then ngasuka 40 in high school, and I went to boarding school. Yamajita kuphela.
It's hard.
Nkulunkulu amajita kuphela yazi uvuka ekuseni ivoice yomjita, afternoon ivoice yazi anyway, it taught me to focus, it taught me to keep track on where I was going. And then ngasuka, I went to the University of Pretoria. I got a bursary. So primary school ngathola ibhazari, high school ngathola ibhazari, university ngathola ibhazari, graduated in the Bachelor's of Commerce Business Management, UP, University of Pretoria.
Wow, great.
No, that's not the case. And then graduated from the University of Pretoria in a Bachelor's of Commerce Business Management. And for the last 8-9 years now, I've been running my own business, giving motivational talks, public speaking trainer, and still
Wow, very impressive. By the way, I do have a copy of your book and a signed one. So we do recommend Kutabanda Basha grab a book, but we'll talk about that at the end of the program. Baba, your topic for today. Share with Abanta Basha, especially in this month when we're saying goodbye to the Men's Month, but we are beginning our conversations with Abanta Basha, looking at a various number of issues.
Yeah, so the topic for tonight is being cool yet responsible. Being cool yet responsible. So what is cool to me may not be cool to you, and what is cool to you may not be cool to me. So being cool to you may be you know, maybe a DJ, if you're a rapper, maybe a tula, whatever it is, you know, and you would say that's me being cool. Many a times people associate this being cool, like, as in, man, when you are that person, you're that frontliner, you are the one that's loud, or wherever you are popular. So that's right. So more popular than cool. But I would like to share a definition of what being cool is.
Yeah.
I believe that Tina Songa's that each and every single one of us, Kona is busi. So there's a gift, there's a talent. And the talent I might find a talent. We've all been gifted. We all have a special talent. We all have a purpose on this earth, right? And for me, being cool is staying in the lane.
Wow.
Let me repeat that. Being cool for me is staying in your lane. Time and time again, we see young people number 10, the next time you go see Lord, but because you move out of that lane, then you start doing things which are not cool, and then you're not responsible. So I'm encouraging people to say, whether it's rapping, whether it's ski, whatever talent that you have, being cool is staying in your lane. Because once you move out of lane yako, then because you see time and time again where you have, I'll make an example about football players that we know. Once and you start spending time with people who are not as good as what you do, who are not as talented as you are, who've got a different talent, then because you've moved away from isbusiso, you've moved away from the gift, you've moved away from your lane. So every single one of us have that thing. As it in youth, you have that thing. It could be that we're not doing okufunda. But once you're sober from that, and you move on to another field, right? Other things who don't even like what you do. That's the problem. Then, the decisions. Right? So I'm encouraging young people to say, stay in your lane, boy. Stay in your lane. That's being cool. staying in your lane, ngalento le odume ngayo. Then we get to the second part of it, of being cool because you're popular and you're in your lane, ngalento le odume ngayo, and being responsible.
Wow.
Right? Because now you are popular and you're cool and you are known, now there's pressure. Abantu are expecting you, and you know, when you're popular and you're cool, you've got a lot of friends, etc. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I'll touch on this topic of responsibility. How do you become responsible? Not to say to someone, yeah, you must be responsible. And they go, Kanjan, how do I do it? And it boils down to decisions. That's all it is. It's decisions, 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 right? Because you are free to make decisions, but you're not free from the consequences of those decisions. Because we are, you are free to go and do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, with whoever you want to do it with. You are free, but you are not free from the consequences of those decisions. And I think it's something, we do it because it's cool, we do it because of instant gratification, but like we don't think about what are the consequences of this decision. It could be at times you're doing this thing because you've had enough to drink and you're not even thinking straight, or you've had something to smoke and now you're on another cloud. So it's like, before you do it, stop, my boy, and think about the consequences of this decision. Because you will never run away from the consequences of your decisions. So it boils down to what? A decision, right? And another thing, Bafetu, we only see this later. My decisions and your decisions don't only affect me, but they affect people that are around us. So your decisions do not only affect you, they affect the people that are around you. You see, many of the times, as a decision, old lady manje bayalbiza, na kumele old lady leskela manje, and high blood pressure and all of that. Your decisions are affecting those people who are around you. Here's an interesting point, Bafetu. Sonke, we are role models because we have people that look up to us. You may be 10, maybe you've got a younger sister or younger brother, on a 7, on a 8. Maybe sometimes I'm going to change, but how do you look after yourself? So it's that thing that says we are all role models. We are all role models. And so we have to make sure that the decisions that we make are good decisions so that those who are coming before us can know what to do. Because here's the thing, when I'm a Sibeko, when you keep on doing these things and your younger brother now keeps doing these things, right? And later on, you go to your younger brother and say, why we lose and listen to this? You know about Tabasha, I'm trying. So you're not leading by example. We need to lead by example. We need to lead by example. We have to lead by example because why? We are role models. All of us, Bafetu, we have a dream. I don't think there is a young person who's watching this and saying, there is no young person who's got a dream to go and spend time in jail. It's never a dream. So, excuse me. The reason why I'm raising that up, Bafetu, is to say, every time you got to make that decision, think about your dreams. Think about your goals. Think about your dreams. Think about your goals. Because you may be watching this and saying, yeah, but just difficult because sometimes hey, you know, we need to have a smoke or we need to have a drink or whatever it is. And you go, but that's it. And how do I make that decision? What does your vision say? Let your dream dictate all your decisions. That was a game changer for me. You know, I'm not perfect. Nami, I've made a lot of bad mistakes. A lot of bad mistakes. There's a story where there was one December, benginemali eningi and imali eningi kunamajita amaningi and I didn't have a plan and it was that weekend, my goodness, I spent money. Yeah, that weekend begumnandi that weekend. Yangibona ukuthi I don't think I'm the most handsome guy. Ngisikobonyana ngishaya ekhanda elikhulu but amantombazana angifuna left right and center alapha phambi kwami because bengiphethe imali manje. Bangibiza putspu aza amantombazana njani masonemali putspu hey bangijabulele bafaka ama makeup. Him I'm cool because I'm the guy. I'm cool because I'm petting you. But I made some bad decisions. Why? Number one, because I didn't have a plan of what I was going to do with the money. You may be cool, popular, make a lot of money, but you're not responsible with your money. And we keep seeing many of the people that we looked up to. But bega cool, right? Because you lost sight of a vision. You lost sight of where you were going, right? And I'm encouraging. Here's a practical activity, bafethu, engayenza ukuthi incede to be cool yet responsible. Mina, in my room, I have something called a vision board. So a vision board is a mental picture of my desired future. I've got pictures there that show where I would love to be in 5 years' time, the man that I would love to be. There's a car that I want to drive. Destinations that I need to go to. So all of us, we've got dreams, we've got goals. And I've got that vision. I can see it. It's the first thing that I see. When I start making bad decisions. So many a times we make these decisions because we've lost sight. What's your dream? What's your goal? Yes, it may be that one day, you know what? You make some really bad decisions. But the following day, that vision is there to remind you to say, you need to get back on track. It will not get you closer to where you want to be. Discipline and keep reminding yourself, I would rather suffer a pain, yet discipline, than a pain, yet regret. But also, discipline is doing the right thing, even when the right thing is the hardest thing to do. So I'm saying to you, go and create that vision board. Go and create that vision board. Put up pictures of your dream house, your dream car, your dream destination. In 5 years or 10 years' time. And have them in sight, like each and every single day. Go through that vision board. Maybe you don't have your own room. I know we stay in different houses, etc. But create some vision board somewhere. Before you want to just remind yourself, right? Because that will help you with your decisions. And one of the things that has helped me, we'll probably get into it on another episode. Spirituality and praying and understanding the Holy Spirit, because your flesh is weak. You can say things like, but you keep dropping the ball. But next weekend you stole us all pause. But next weekend you stole us all. You don't know how to let go of this thing, right? And that's spirituality. That's breaking ties. But that's for another day. But it's then to say, what does my vision say? And is what you're doing now going to get you closer to where you want to be? I want to tell you a quick story, and then I wrap this up, about being cool yet responsible. There's this girl, she's a yellow bone. She's hot. Yo, lentomazana lena, yeah. Yabona lona angakhiphi, yabona if you are a big guy and unemali, nemali insurance iphelela la. Into this girl she's hot. She's beautiful. There's a girl, guys, that you know with the long chama, but lo I'm on you. So this girl, she's young, she's beautiful. And I'm thinking, I wanna please think totally number, totally conversation. And then I thought to myself, but every time I have to make a decision, it has to align with my vision and what I want to do. Right? Right? I need to save money. So it's about being honest with yourself to say, ngathola le number le spend manje. The very same money that I said I'm going to save, you're not being honest with yourself. So unless whatever reason you're going there to do. So I said to myself, and sister, even now, namanje, because no glula la bangshang ising ismala talo, italo, loyo yakanga lon. But angeke ngiye lapha. Because I'm saying, let decision, it doesn't get me closer to where I want to be with my dream and with my vision. Right? So I'm encouraging you, Bafetu, be cool, whatever cool is to you. Staying in your lane, and every time of work saying, think about your decisions. Think about consequences of those decisions. Think about the people that are getting affected by your decisions. And lastly, think about your dream. Because at the end of the day, it's about your dream. It's about your goal. That time will come. Amachita won't be there. The goals won't be there. It's over now and now. So make sure that you make decisions that are aligned with where you're going and what your dream is. Be cool, but also be responsible. Being responsible is cooler than being cool.
Yo, I love it. I love it. And thank you so much, Baba. You're always an inspiration. But I'm gonna sing is bamba ngepen and I'm in tatamo notes. Yes, and I'm cool bay was Mzanzine. Fana nami ngibe cool, but very responsible. Ngiyabonga Baba. There's a lot that we've picked up. You know, staying in your lane, very important. This is ukuthiwa ungabe ugaxakile inyama yomsipha. Uzithola kuyonke indawo. And lokho kufanele ukuthi abantu abasha bahlale bekwazi ngazo zonke isikhathi benze lokhu abadume ngakho, the gift that God has given them. They must just enhance and act more on this. On the role models, you've said a mouthful. You know, we need to really redefine our role models. And again, you can be your own role model. You can be your own role model,
sure,
and do the right things and look at yourself and say, yeah, I love myself. I love what I'm doing and I'm doing the right thing. And this all has to do with but making decisions as well. And also lead and be led by example. Sure. We all have dreams. But again, the danger with dreams is that we sometimes dream all along, all the time, forever, and we forget to wake up, and that's when things go wrong. So as we dream, we must wake up and realize our dream. Yeah. No, Siyabonga.
We have to. Just encourage them.
Yes, I just love the last part, which we will be talking about spirituality and discipline. We will be having other speakers who will be touching on this element. As I said earlier on, this is the beginning of many to come. As we wrap the Men's Month, we getting into engaging with the young people, talking to them about the things that matter and the things that make a difference in their lives. Ngiyabonga Baba. Nangom, so when we say Putisibu, we are building Amandabasha into responsible future leaders. You are always there to work along with us. Much appreciated. May God bless and keep you until we meet again. Thank you, Baba.
Yep.
A very good afternoon. Once again, we're still here, going to a Sigulento, here boys conference. The end of July, saying bye-bye to the Men's Month, but beginning on looking at the issues that are confronting Abandabasha, the young people, especially the boy child. A lot has been done about the girl child, but now we want to talk to the boys. And the boys are central to the issues that are currently happening now because we need to mold them. And as we mold them, we also need to encourage them and let them see other young men who have grown, who have gone through the stage, but who have made a success of the things that they've done. Today, we have, as part of our guest speaker, Uputi Uwandi NZIMANDE, who is the founder of the brand Loxin Culture. We all know it. Also, a renowned DJ who featured on KFM, but I wouldn't like to spoil the beans. Let him introduce himself. And now that he's wearing a cap and I don't have one, I've got a prop here. I'm sorted, Baba. Naming him Nanti. Baba, welcome to the Future Leaders 2020 Boys Conference.
No, thank you so much, man. Yeah, no, You introduced me well. I am the founder, actually co-founder of Loxum Culture. It was started by myself and a good friend of mine, who's Chaba Mukhale, and our mentor, Brian Abrams, in 1999. But that's not the only thing I've done. As you said, I'm a DJ, which is an expression of mine in terms of something that I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about music, which is something that I got from Lady. You know, my mother, someone who really loved music and someone who collected music. I think from the time I was about 12, 13, you know, being like I'm a vinyl in terms of my birthday presents, you know. I mean, when I go back, it's things like Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel, you know. I still have those vinyls, you know. You know. And also we connected my VHS tapes and who used to take pictures like all the time. So I was very passionate about, honestly, really media, essentially, you know. So I really love media and creating content and things like that as well. And it really evolved into me getting into media and creating television content and being involved with TV stations like Soweto TV and creating content for SABC and some stage even Mzansi Magic. But now I'm a distributor and a creator of content to places as far as Los Angeles and things like that.
Wow, sure. You seem to really have a purpose in life, and I know we often speak about the word purpose loosely. So when the knowledge of self and the purpose, what would you say drives you? What is that thing that drives you and that gives you the purpose?
I think more than anything, what drives me is that where I'm from, not many people make it. You know, and not to say I want to, to really say it, like I'm a reflection of where I'm from, you know, but also the environment that I'm from should not be something that holds me back, but it should be something that really inspires me, you know. So knowledge of self in terms of where you come from and who you are, which is why I started Loxum Culture. One, to give people a sense of belonging, you know. It's who you are, be proud of who you are. It's not about counting your misfortunes, it's about counting your blessings. You know, the little that, make do with the little that you have, you know? Let's complain now about the things that we don't have. What about we celebrate the things that we do have, you know? And I think that is the culture as a Loxum. And I think this is what we really need to celebrate as Abantu, you know? Young people, for example, forget about the one thing that they have in abundance, which is time, you know? If you look at the lockdown in terms of what we have now, if lockdown was to end right now, I can tell you now, people would miss all the time that they had during lockdown. So while you're in it, my biggest challenge to people is think about the things that you've always wanted to do when you had time and use that time wisely, you know? So in terms of purpose for me, I try as much as I can to live a life of purpose, you know, and my purpose in terms of answering your question, in terms of what drives me is to change the environment that is around me in terms of the things that I do not like in terms of Mina Ogwami. And really to create a positive outlook in terms of ultimately blackness, you know, because when you go onto things like Google and you Google things like Soweto kids as an example, pictures are not great compared to London kids.
Oh,
you
my
know,
goodness. Yeah.
and that's the honest truth, you know. So we're far from correcting those kind of pictures, you know. So it starts with very small things. It starts with creating pretty pictures and reflecting on who we are. So in terms of creating content, is to tell stories about, you know, for example, the brand that I created. So we created a documentary about Lokshan culture, you know, in terms of the stories that we're distributing a lot of content around music. We're now getting into dramas about, you know, stories about who we are, you know. So we've got fiction and non-fiction. So yeah, we have to reflect on things about who we are and about South Africa more than anything else.
Absolutely. Now, what does it take really, Baba, to? I see that you're saying creating content, doing this and doing this, but these are humongous. These are big projects that you're laying your hands on. But what does it take? You sound as well like a person who's very much into Ubuntu, Nogwaka, Abantu. So how does Ubuntu fits in the business?
I think at the heart of everything, you know, Ubuntu is, you know, the other week I had to go into the bank and I unfortunately and rudely and sadly, I walked in and I was thinking about my own thing and I had a very hectic day, and in the whole bank there was one other customer, and Mangena, I just walked in and I sat down, and just before I sat down, this man said, "Good morning," you know, and I had to oblige and firstly say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I greeted and I said, "Good morning." And not only was I embarrassed because I recognized in terms of Ubuntu, I was supposed to greet the person who was there before me, you know. It's because this man was actually, as an African man, putting me in check for the fact that he was there before me, you know. And it's serious to less, so, you know, in terms of respecting the people that are there before you. You know, so that acknowledgement of acknowledging the people that are there before you. So for me, Ubuntu in any kind of business means respecting the people that are there before you. So learning from people who have got more experience, learning from people who know more than you. So mentorship is really a big thing for me. Celebrating people who've achieved more than you have is a big thing. But ultimately, if you to really break it to a way that we can really understand it, it's really Ubuntu. And some people would really say, but that's really a really forced connection. But that's how I see it. It's a personal opinion.
Very much
but for
so.
me, in the simplest way, in a simplest way, it's a form or it's a way of showing respect.
Yes. Ubuntu mina ngithi it is a concept that did not create life, but perfected it. Because that's what it does.
Yes.
It perfects a life. Now, you speak of mentorship very passionately. And in your opening, you also said that after founding Lokshan Culture, you were mentored or you were coached by someone else. How has that impacted on you, and how are you carrying that out to mentor others?
Well, I was mentored by Brian Abrams, who helped us create, especially on the distribution in Lokshan Culture, because he had a network of people who own stores, and he helped us in creating all the licenses of the brand. And him and I had a relationship which was really based on the fact that a candle loses nothing by lighting another, you know, and it's really about giving someone an opportunity, you know. So because of that, it's something that I learned to you really lose nothing, and it's about really paying it forward. And because of that, I continue to do the same, you know, to really not only share knowledge, but to also empower a lot of people as well.
But now, as you empower others, there's a very interesting element that comes in, and that is the element of leadership. I've seen you lead big organizations. I've happened to bump on you in one of the major projects which you were involved turning the whole business around. Your understanding of leadership and how you're applying it?
Yeah. Firstly, you know, there's something that I read a long time ago, and I don't know why it kept ringing in my head, is that a good king is the one who is reminded by his subjects that he's king, you know, which for me really speaks to the fact that a leader comes from, because at the end of the day, that person is a reflection of us. So that cannot forget the fact that they are there because of us, you know. And I think as soon as that person becomes bigger than us, that power becomes really useless, because the leadership is not about power. It's not about power. Leadership is not about power. To lead is actually being led more than anything.
Wow, very profound.
Leadership is about responsibilities, you know, and there's integrity that comes with it. It's about understanding the roadmap. It's like being the main person who's been given a map and saying, take us there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've been given a map and you have to take everyone.
Yeah.
You know, nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Wow.
Nothing
Great.
else.
It's
not for you to decide what people are gonna eat, when people are gonna eat, when everyone is gonna sleep. It's for you to decide where are we gonna go and what route we're going to take, and that's it. So if you mislead people, it's on you. If you take people in the wrong direction, it's on you, and that's all it's about. So if you take people in the right direction in the quickest way, and everyone understands the bigger picture, and everyone understands what role they play within the bigger picture, then that's for me good leadership.
Okay, Baba, there's something that I've found to be very much a real boy child out there: the level of honesty and knowledge.
The level of honesty. So for example, I've been involved in three things, and those three things are things that gravitate around one thing, really, which is around popular culture. And the reason it's popular culture for me now is because I come from the streets. You know, I don't have a rich family, or I don't have connections and things like that as well. I'm just a simple guy from the streets who decided, hey, the thing is by selling pasa, you know, let me try to do something with music, you know. There's not much you need in terms of doing those kind of things, and there's not much that you need in terms of creating content, you know. And that's all I've done, you know. And being able to do those things, right? There's a lot of passion and drive that you need, and conviction. You know what I mean? So one, if I don't enjoy it, me now one, then there's a problem, you know. If my brother, my cousin, my you know, if the very people that are around me don't appreciate it, then it's a lie, you know. You know, if for example, let's say I was a singer, right? If my father or my brother are calling me, with him and one day I was told then forget it. Of course, if I'm coming out, Kosha.
Ngeke
Try something.
ngeke bakufake esmokweni bakuthumele kwi-idols.
Kosha.
Okay. Baba, kuyinyanga yobaba si-rapper and talking to the young boys about the scourge of gender-based violence. What would be your parting shot and your advice to all the boys out there in terms of making sure that they don't find themselves on the wrong side of the law? Not only that, but compromising themselves and bazwisa omama nabantwana ubuhlungu. What is your word on gender-based violence?
The first thing is that there's really one rule, lento yokushaya abantu besifazane is a no.
Yeah.
Number one. It's a no. For whatever reason, so you walk away.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Number one. There's only one rule. Number one.
Okay.
The rest is about anger, frustration, Women are more emotionally strong. Let's not even try to compete, and especially when it comes but lento are going to lay a hand on it. It's a no.
No.
No, not for whatever reason. Reason.
Right.
Yeah, we can't even entertain it.
Okay.
So it is no reason.
Yeah. So it's totally unacceptable.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah. Right.
Violence as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Is unacceptable. But any man will raise a hand on any woman for whatever reason is a big no. It's a big no. It's something that should not be entertained.
Oh, Siyabonga baba, Siyabonga. Ngiyethemba ukuthi all the youth and men, including all auntie, no mama, no sissy, watching this boys conference you've had for yourselves. As men, we stand up strongly. And uwandi wakanzimande uti, don't touch mama, don't touch the girl child, don't touch abantwana. Ukuthi uma windoda wena uyistering uzoshaya. This must not happen. Unacceptable. Baba, thank you so much. And we look forward to continuously supporting you in all your endeavors and your programs. On your brand side of things, we will also make sure we will look out for your brand and support you. It's nice to see Abantu Bakithi prosper. We Equa Future Leaders, we say we want to create employers, not employees. So this has been quite an inspiration, and we wish you all the best. And where can we get the apparel, as if looks in culture? I know I've seen it in many stores.
In most malls, at stores like Weber's, Dodo's, and online very soon.
Okay. Wow. I see the online is happening. 4IR, Fourth Industrial Revolution, is there. Yeah. So we say order Baba or deliver. Thank you so much. May God bless you and keep you, and His loving care. And greetings to the family and the girls. Thank you so much. All right. Asibongeni.
Igama lami ngu-Innocent ngwabasithole Sibonga. Angihambisani nokuhlukunyezwa kwabesifazane nabantwana. Singamadoda asivikele laba abangakwazi ukuzivikela, okungabesifazane nabantwana kanjalo nogogo bethu. Kule nyanga yamadoda asenze isiqiniseko sokuthi abantu besifazane bayibona esibabeka oqhulwini, futhi singamadoda senze isiqiniseko sokuthi asihlangani nezinto eziphume eceleni. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, inkosi ngesizwe, isizwe siyisizwe ngokusekana nokubambisana ukukhulisa ubuzwe bazo. I'm a real man and I'm a future leader.
Sanibonani, igama lami nguSenzo kaKhumalo. Kule nyanga yamadoda ngicela ukukhuluma nabafana abasakhula. Ngicela ukukutshela ukuthi wena uyi-future eSouth Africa. Namhlanje sineyinkinga ngelinye ilanga ezoxazululwa wena. Kodwa into ebalulekile uma umuntu wesilisa ukuthi uqala uzihloniphe, uyazi into ekuthiwa inhlonipho, ukwazi ukuthi yini umkhuleko, umazi uNkulunkulu ukuthi ubani, ukuze ushintshe ikusasa labantu abaningi ababheke wena. Ngisho sisibaka abadala basuke bebheke wena uma umfana. Ngisho umzali wakho okuzele usuke ebheke wena noma ungazibona umncane njengamanje kodwa wena uyi-future ye-South Africa. God bless you.
Igama lami nginguthi ayo kaHlongwane from Nqobeka FM News. I'm the real man, I'm the real future. Kule nyanga yamadoda ngithi angihambisani nokuhlukunyezwa kwabantu besifazane kanye nabantwana. Uma ungasamfuni mnyeke, ungamshayi bathi munakekele umthande. Indoda iyavikela ayishayi.